right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. So again, good morning, everyone. I did want to let everybody know that uh, I put the participant guide for Spark Session 3 in the chat box. So if you go to the chat box, you'll be able to follow along with the participation guide over there. All right. So welcome. This is Spark Session number 3. This is all going to be about powerful language that gets results. This is going to be about scripts. Okay, we're going to understand. We're going to discuss scripts. What's important about scripts? Why do we work on scripts? Why do we work on memorizing them? The benefits of them. And we're really going to try to break down scripts down to its most basic level, so you can really learn how to use and master these scripts. Remember that the goal in our Spark classes is to get you to have an appointment within the first 2 weeks. Within the next 2 weeks, we want to get you meeting, whether it's virtually or on the telephone or not, but meeting with a buyer or a seller to list their home, or to work with them to purchase their home within the next 30 days. Okay, and that's what Spark is all about. Okay. Now we're gonna talk about building our database, practicing scripts, making those prospecting calls, and learning and understanding the market. And remember, one of the things we're also going to be focusing on is establishing habits or activities that you're going to use your entire real estate career. Okay, whether that's making telephone calls and writing personal notes, adding people into your database, communicating with people from your database. And so forth. So we are going to be focusing on those activities. But what I do want to hear from some of you guys that were in the class yesterday, what are some of the things that, yesterday's class was about lead generation. So I want to hear from some of you guys. What did you guys do a little bit differently yesterday? Was there any activities that you did that's based on your lead generation? So what did you do differently yesterday based off of yesterday's class?
Well, I definitely try to have. Go ahead.
Well, I actually dove in and made a couple of calls, and I followed up with text because I was still trying to figure out the spreadsheet. So today I will be on top of doing the FSBO sheets. I've been following up with my inner circle, my inner sphere, and just communicating and just following up, like, hey, how are you doing? I hope everything is okay with you and your family. Is there anything I can do for you? Please don't hesitate. Just being warm and just reminding them. I even had friends or ex-coworkers hitting me up like, hey, how's everything with you? I see that you started your real estate career. And I'm like, oh, it's great. We're doing things a little different. So we're still in business. Please share my information, share my my Facebook page, my business page. And you know me. So you already know how I am, that my personality. So that has been my conversation yesterday. Like, you know me, you know my personality, you know how we are, you know how transparent I can be. So that's what you're going to expect from me.
Excellent. I love it. And those calls, were they well received by your sphere, by your friends and family?
Yes, very well received. It was fun actually catching up and shooting the breeze. So just letting them know, I'm here. Just let me know what we need to do, and just remember me. And they were like, oh my God, they're so proud of you. Wow, you're taking such a brave step. And so, so that has been like that conversation, And I'm like, well, just remember me. If you know anybody that needs anything, that if you see anything out in the market or whatever, just keep me in mind. And they're like, oh, definitely.
Excellent. That's really great. Remember, people will do business with people that they know, they like, and they trust. Okay. And if you're coming across as being genuine and you're maintaining that relationship, one of the things that I read yesterday was when all this is said and done, and things go back to quasi-normal or something that resembles normalcy, there's going to be such a pent up, especially remember, we're going into that season anyhow. But there's going to be such a pent up demand for purchasing or selling the homes that there's going to be there's expecting to be a flood in the market. And you know what, the people, like I said a couple of days ago, there's going to be hundreds and hundreds and thousands of real homes that are going to be sold and purchased from now until the end of the year. Right? There's going to be thousands of homes that sold this year. A lot of things may be on pause right now, but once it's all said and done, the people that are making those telephone calls and establishing and nurturing those relationships right now, those are going to be the agents that's going to be taking a lot of those sales. Okay, so great job making those calls, Griselda. I'm really proud of you. For sale by owners and expireds, they still need to sell as well. So keep making those telephone calls to them. So great job. Alan, you had something to share as well.
Yeah, I was again making phone calls yesterday. One thing I realized or ran into as an issue when I'm talking to people that I've done business with or in my sphere of influence, I find the conversations are lasting 20, 30 minutes. It's not a bad thing. It's a great thing. We're talking a long time, but I can't get 40 conversations in when I'm talking to people for 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like, what are some ways to maybe keep it shorter, but without seeming like I'm trying to rush them off the phone, or just let it ride and you only get what you get that day?
No, and I love that too, because you're showing, obviously you have good rapport and the conversation's flowing, and that's great. Any other time, I would say, hey, look, this is a business call. I'd love to catch up with you about this, that, or the other, and I can give you a call a little later on, or maybe tomorrow or something like that. And right now is not that time to do that. Right now we're making those nurture telephone calls. I would try to make a mental note of, I want to limit this telephone call to 5-10 minutes, right? And then I hate saying, but blame it on another appointment that you have coming up. Hey, you know what, Alan, I'd really love to catch up with you, and let's actually plan. Maybe I can give you a call a little bit later on. I do have another appointment that I'm about to jump in on. But I'd definitely love to catch up with you. It was great hearing from you. All right. That way you're controlling your time, because especially when you're calling your sphere, it can get very caught up with just that. Hey, how's everything? How's the kids? Oh yeah, so-and-so had her dance recital. Oh, that's awesome. And what about this? And what about that? And who do you think the Dolphins are going to pick in the first round? Oh yeah, well, I can't wait for it. And then next thing you know, you're on 15 different bunny trails later, an hour later on the telephone. All right, so people had to treat you. And sometimes I love blaming my calendar. Hey, look, I'd really love to continue this conversation. I do have another call I need to jump on, another meeting I'm about to jump into, but let's continue this a little later on. All right.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Who else? Anyone else have anything they'd like to share? Yes, Rosangela, how are you?
Good morning to all. I'm sorry. First of all, thank you for the class yesterday. It's always inspiring to us to continue our journey here. And I had a productive afternoon yesterday. I got my cell phone, and through my contact list, I was able to, I made a template email with my name in my picture, with my Keller Williams name there. And I sent it to 76 people, my contact list yesterday.
Oh, very good.
Most of the people that I know in Massachusetts, everybody at home in my team. So therefore, everybody.
Hello, es Gonzalo. Hola, Gonzalo. Todo bien.
All right.
So people are home, and I got replies from them saying they will keep in mind, and they are glad, they are happy that I am, I'm okay here in Florida. And interesting that when you get some replies is that, oh, I am talking to my wife, some folks there. I'm talking to my wife in that we are thinking moving south. When they say south, he said that North Carolina, South Carolina, Atlanta, maybe maybe Florida. But this is good because I never thought that this particular person would reply to me saying this. So I think that's my share for today.
Excellent. Well, we just want to make sure, and this is something we say during any market, really, we want to make sure that we're not being secret agents. And a secret agent is someone who, she's a real estate agent. They have their license. They're ready to help anybody, but they don't tell anybody that they're in real estate. So that's a secret. And what ends up happening is when you're a secret agent, where you're expecting business to come to you and it doesn't, because nobody knows you're an agent. So I love the fact that you reached out to your sphere and just say hi, how are you? And I'm a resource. And you're going to see when you do make those telephone calls, you do make those contacts, things are going to happen organically like that. So great job with that, Rosangela.
Thank you.
All right. Excellent. So we've seen this chart before. This is what successful agents do in this business. They do this stuff every day. And like we said, success leaves clues, right? And this is exactly what successful agents do every day. They do two types of activities. They're either growing their business or they're running their business. Okay. And some of the things that we're going to be focusing on today is on these areas. So lead generating for buyers and sellers, making seller listing presentations, buyer presentations, previewing real estate, showing buyers houses, negotiating contracts, transaction management, and closing. Okay, so when we're talking, the reason why we're not actually going to be going through all of these topics, but the reason why we're kind of focusing on these right now is because in our scripts, we're using the scripts in every single one of these areas. Almost everything that we say is going to be a script, right? And it's important that learning and internalizing the scripts are going to help you in all facets of your business, all the way from lead generating, all the way to getting it to closing. All right. So it's not as much as just memorizing scripts; it's internalizing scripts. It's internalizing them to the point where we don't have to read it, have the script written in front of us to know what we're about to say next. Remember, it's about internalizing the script and everything that we're hoping to say and get across. All right, so we're going to talk about today. This is our agenda for today. We're going to talk about the purpose of scripts. We're going to talk about the benefits of using scripts and how to memorize some scripts. We'll do a little bit of script practice. We'll talk, a couple of us will go ahead and role play that. And then we'll recap and go over some ahas before we go into our daily success habits, making telephone calls, keep practicing our scripts. And you got to practice that every single day. But yeah, we're going to just talk about the purpose of the scripts and everything right now. So like I said, we talk about memorizing and internalizing scripts, and it's important to understand what they're learning, how this is going to fit into the bigger picture of our business. Okay, it's real learning scripts, and I know some people don't even like necessarily calling it scripts, whether it's a dialogue, whether it's a rehearsal, whatever you want to call it, it's a script. It is what it is. But learning and memorizing and internalizing these scripts is important because it's going to help you control the conversation that you're having with your buyers or sellers by using purposeful language that will help you get to the end point, a closed transaction. All right. When I say we're making a purposeful language, for those that are joining Bold next month, you're going to learn about embedded commands. All right. You're going to learn about the tonality, the pause between an embedded command. You're going to learn that you're saying things in a certain way that's going to elicit a response that you're looking for, essentially. All right. And we're gonna kind of talk about some of those, but it's controlling the conversation. All right. Knowing your scripts is going to also help you to communicate your value. And once you've internalized your scripts, you can add your own personal value proposition, which is going to help you with your lead generation efforts and obviously lead to more closed deals. Learning and understanding your scripts will help uncover buyer or seller's motivations. and identify any objections that you could, so that way you can handle them up front. All right. It also allows you to have a rehearsed response that delivers a powerful message in a way that the consumer will best understand. We're speaking the consumer, the customers, we're speaking their language basically. All right. And also scripts allow you to ask questions in a way so that you'll be able to quickly share the information you need to better serve them. Plus, it also helps you gain confidence. All right. When, a lot of times we're nervous about doing something, we hesitate, we're making telephone calls, or we hesitate doing something because we don't know. One, we fear rejection. And then the other thing is I don't want to look silly because I don't know what to say. All right. As far as the rejection, get used to it. Okay. If people are going to tell you no, that's fine. Okay. People are going to say yes, they're going to say no. If they say no, that's fine. Next. Some will, some won't. So what? Next. So get over the rejection portion. When the other thing is they fear that they're going to look silly by not knowing what to say. Right. The scripts is going to learning and understanding and knowing your scripts is going to alleviate that entire pain altogether. All right, by knowing what you're saying, knowing that it's internalized, so it doesn't sound like you're reading it out of a book, you're going to gain confidence. And when you have confidence in yourself, your client, the customer, the consumer, the buyer, the seller, whatever, they're going to see that confidence level in you, and they're going to say, this person knows exactly what they're talking about. All right. So what questions do we have so far about scripts right now? What are some of our thoughts of what we're seeing right here?
This is all things you have to master. They must be mastered. Internalizing them and making them sound like you and not like you're reading piece of paper is the key.
Yeah, absolutely. Griselda, what are you going to say?
Well, I do like the whole speak in terms that the customers understand. Like, I don't want to start throwing real estate jargons out there and leave them all confused and intimidated. I want to, make it personal and so I would understand that, because I would like for someone to approach me like that and not blah, 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 and I'm like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you think about that. You call someone up and you're like, hey, Fizbo, so were you an REO before? And you were people don't understand that the jargons. You're right. So you're speaking in their language. But think about this also. We've been using scripts for almost our entire life, not even just in this. All right. We're already using scripts. So for those that have children, for those of us who have ever been a child, has everyone here been a child at one point? All right. Okay. A couple people
growing up.
I'm still a child. if you ask my wife, I'm still a child. So
100% still there.
What's that?
100% still there. Still go. In my early childhood. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. My wife tells me that I'm the oldest 14-year-old she's ever met. All right, and that's fine.
It? You don't believe it? There's my. If you don't believe it, look at my background. Still a child.
As I'm drinking coffee out of a Minions cup.
There you go.
So, but
what, John? One more thing. I want you to, because I think it was Alan that said you have to master these things, and I just want to clarify. I don't want you to get caught up on that. Like, they got to be perfect. They'll get really good. It takes 10,000 hours to master them. I don't have 10,000 hours. John Dietz has 10,000 hours. Yeah, so he's a master. So he's the teacher and we're the student. I've probably got 2,700 to 2,900 hours of working on this. The more that you practice, the more that you speak to people, practice in here, speak to people out there, the better they get. You don't have to be great to get started, but you do have to get started to be great. So don't be fearful of getting on the phone and speaking to people, because that allows you to learn where you need to work, what you need to work on. That allows you to learn, okay, I got stumped here. This is where I got stopped. That's what I need to talk about in group coaching tomorrow. And I am always in awe of the silence when John says, "Hey, talk to me. What do you need? What do you need help with? What are you working on?" And there's silence because we all have to work on something. There's all room for improvement, and it's up to us to open a mouth, right? The open mouth gets fed. So you've got to speak up during that time and get help with where you're running into roadblocks, and you won't know where that is until you get on the phone and start practicing with real people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Mike, are you trying to come into the picture there, or there you are? You won't like me when I'm angry. So, okay. So like I was saying, we've been using scripts our entire life. On October 31st, on Halloween, all right? Kids, they all get, I said we all get dressed up. We start going knocking on doors. And when we knock on the door, what do we say? All right, we say trick
or treat, yeah.
Right now, that's a script. Right, that's a script. Trick or treat, give me candy. All right, give me candy, but that's a script that we learn. It's an easy script, and the kids use it, and they get exactly what they want. And when you think about it in this business, it's the same exact thing. All right, it's the same exact thing. One of the things that you'll learn in Bold is using embedded commands is things like assuming the sale. So when I'm on the telephone with someone and I say, when you decide to hire a professional like me, blah, 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 the embedded command is hire a professional. And then another one is like me, right? Hire me. When you decide to hire me, when you and I get together tomorrow or this weekend, and you decide to sign the contract, it's things like that. Those are scripts. Because if we kind of start like pussyfooting around our script, we're kind of asking, but not really asking. We're not getting any closer to a closed deal by not going straight forward. So the scripts are it's a rehearsed response. Right? It's a rehearsed response, and it's a purposeful message.
Script is our principal tool.
I'm sorry, say it again.
I think it's a very important tool for us to master this script. That is to empower us to feel confident. And once we know this, as Mike said, by heart, doing it very good is again when we will be able to talk to a prospective buyer or seller that they are going to be dealing with a good agent.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's an example. Here's a couple more examples of some other scripts that I'm sure we've heard before. Did you find everything you were looking for? Go ahead, look around. Please let me know if I can help you. And I see you admiring that big screen TV. Are you looking to get one for the big game this weekend? All right. We've heard these scripts before. All right. And these three scripts, they're all asking the same thing. All right. At the end of the day, all three of these scripts are trying to get someone to purchase a television in this example. All right. But I want to hear from you guys. Which one do you think is the most purposeful? Which one is uncovering the motivations and is actually getting you closer to a sale?
I would say the third one, because now you're touching the person's emotion. Like, oh, I see you looking at that TV right there. Do you like the graphics or whatever? The size, flat screen, 3D, whatever.
And in this one, they went straight for the motivation. They're assuming that you're buying this television. All right. Are you buying the television for the game this weekend? All right. You're going to get an idea of their level of urgency. You're going to get an idea of their motivation and so forth. Right. Just because it's on sale and it's a good price is a logical thought. Okay. But when you can tie it to their motivation, that's you're going to elicit an emotional response. And logic makes you think, but emotion makes you act. Okay, so we want to find that motivation, and that third example is much, much, much more purposeful than just saying, "Did you find anything you're looking for?" or "How can I help you?" All right, and our scripts need to be need to be the same way. Okay, one of the things we need to focus on. Remember that our scripts needs to be 100% customer oriented. It needs to be 100% about them, right? And it needs to benefit the customer or the buyer or the seller throughout the entire conversation. Okay, in that third example, they're talking about, I see that you're looking for you're looking at that big screen. Are you looking to get one this weekend for the game this weekend? Right? They're establishing so much just in that one in that one script there. All right, and remember that the scripts are nothing more than a tool that's essential to get the job done, get us to actually get to closings. Okay, so I know some people don't like the term script. Some people are afraid to jump on the telephone. What are some of your limiting beliefs? All right, because we all have them. We already addressed 2 of them. What if they say no? And we also addressed what if I don't know what to say? All right, but I want to hear some from you guys. What are some limiting beliefs that asking for a friend, right? What are some of those beliefs that you think someone else might be having if you don't want to say that it's you? But what are some limiting beliefs or negative thoughts or self-talk that are holding you back from reaching out to people? And we all have them. Nobody has any limiting beliefs?
Well, mine was, what if I don't know what to say?
Okay, Brazil, you said that you don't know what to say, right?
Yeah, like I don't want to sound unprepared or unintelligent enough to, what if I speak to someone who knows real estate better than I do? Like, ooh.
Yeah.
So that could be a little intimidating.
Yeah, definite. Alan?
One of my fears actually happened yesterday. I reached out to somebody.
It's a bad connection.
And they told me their mom died. And I never, even with somebody that I know when that happens, I don't know what to say. Can you hear me?
You know what? It sounded like it was
Hello?
really slow and breaking up, so I barely caught any of that.
Can you hear me now?
I do.
Okay. So one of my worst fears happened yesterday.
Okay.
I called a client and his mother passed away. And I never know what to say in that situation, even when I'm dealing with it, in real life. So that's always one of my biggest fears, and it happened yesterday. So just getting past that was kind of difficult, but I mean, I worked through it.
Yeah, I think we may have lost you again. No, that is awful, especially when you're calling up to just say, you're trying to be positive and upbeat. Hey, how you doing? And they're like, my mom just passed away yesterday. Oh, right. Completely sucked the energy completely out of that conversation. And all you can do at that point is just sympathize and empathize. All right. And, it's really, wow. I know you're going through a lot right now. If there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. You'll be in my thoughts and prayers. And, I just now's not the time to turn around and say, oh, by the way, who do you know is looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate? Right. So, you never know what other people are going through. All right. And I don't know, and I only heard half of that because I know it cut off, Alan. But yeah, it kind of throws you off your game when you get something really negative like that and really shocking and surprising. Jen on Facebook, Jen said that they don't want to buy or sell their home. And you remember in Spark section 1, how we had that squiggly line, right? We don't know exactly where they are on that squiggly line, right? And we're always hoping that they're going to be at the very, very top where they're ready to purchase or sell something right now. And that may not always be the case. So yeah, at that point, it becomes one of those things where we just want to stay in contact with somebody. I don't care if someone just sold their house yesterday. All right, they're not buying a home. However, I want to let them know that I'm a resource there for them. So that way, if that they hear somebody else that's looking to buy or sell a home, they'll refer me. Right? We never know where they are on that continuum, or that on that track of buying or selling a home. All right, but we want to make sure we're staying in touch with them. Another limiting belief is, so we talk about fear of failure, fear of looking silly, not knowing what to say. Another one is fear of success. All right, and that one sounds weird. I'm afraid to make telephone calls because what if I actually get an appointment? We don't say it, but that's actually what we're thinking. What if I actually get an appointment? Mike and Sharkhead over there, I think you're about to say something, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that shark is from a shark tagging thing that me and Jake did together. It was really scary and cool. And it made me realize or think about something, especially with what Alan had said. Yeah, that's always a weird thing when people, how do you react? How do you respond? And I was thinking that's a great opportunity to send out a personal note card after that phone call. There's some opportunity there. I'm always like, what do I say? I'm always like, okay, yeah, I'm really sorry, right? And the way you show that they had an impact on that phone call is to go ahead and let them know that, get them a personal note card, and that's going to endear you to those people and build a relationship. So when I'm saying this, I don't want you to get the impression that I'm saying this to, oh, okay, this is how I'm going to get in. No, you should be sending this because you care, right? And I believe you do. I believe that all of you are similar people. You've got to prove to these people that, yeah, you're in their life, you're part of their relationship, you care about them, and they're not going to get that from everybody else. This should be a constant thought process that you're doing this in order to build relationships, and those relationships will make you the choice when time comes that they need something done. And maybe that thing is they need to sell their mom's house that just passed. Now, who should they be working with? Somebody who cares about them. And didn't you just prove that? So just a thought process.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Another thing I'm going to highly recommend, this is going to be a best practice for everybody. Pick a person that's going to be your script and role play, a script and accountability partner. All right. Pick a person. Griselda, you may turn around and say, I want to work with Rosangela, and maybe just call Rosangela and just every day and just say, hey, let's just do a practice run. I'm about to make telephone calls to FSBOs. Let's just practice making these calls. I want to practice my scripts on you. And then Rosangela, give her a couple objections. All right. No, I don't want to sell because I don't want to list with you because your commission is too high. I don't want to be locked into a contract, whatever. And then Griselda, you got to overcome those objections. But it's practice, right?
Yes.
You got to constantly practice. Professionals are practicing all the time. So that way, I'm just looking at all of Mike's pictures over there that's popping up on the side. Right. But
well, that's part of everything though, isn't it, John? Practicing.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that is part of one of the 5 things. That's part of your 20% is to practice every day.
Absolutely. What's the saying, Mike? Amateurs practice to get it right, and professionals practice so that they'll never get it wrong.
Yeah, and I think that's the focus, is that you practice it so well that you can't get it wrong. And that's the difference between a pro and somebody who's kind of just playing at it. And you really need to do that, because people will not go along with your process 100%. They're not just going to say, oh, okay, I'm going to let you talk. They're always going to throw in curveballs, and they're always going to take you off your path. So you've got to know it so well. It's got to be so internalized in you that you can go off the path, because you need to address certain things that they say and then jump right back on and right back into where you left off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Be aware of your limiting beliefs. We all have them. Okay. And when you get one of those little, I don't have it here, but it's we call it the drunk monkey. All right. That drunk monkey is that little voice that sits on your shoulder and whispers into your ear and tells you all kinds of things. That negative self-talk. They're saying you're too brand new. Why would someone hire you? That listing is too expensive for you to take on your first listing. Okay.
How do we sober that drunk monkey up?
What's that? What do you
How do
say?
we sober that drunk monkey up? I need him.
Nice. Nice. It's the drunk monkey. And you know what? He's gonna be there. That drunk monkey is gonna be there. And he's gonna be whispers into my ear all the time. And that's fine. But you gotta acknowledge, you gotta recognize what it is, recognize that this is just negative self-talk, and put that monkey in at bay. Right? Just recognize that this is a limiting belief, and think about how can I overcome that limiting belief. Recognize that it's a limiting belief, and then come up with strategies of how they can overcome it. Well, you know what? I don't know what to say. I'm going to overcome it by practicing. I'm going to get a role play partner, and I'm just going to practice. When I first got my license, Mike has heard me say this a few times. My role play partner, believe it or not, was my dog. All right. I would literally sit there and look at my dog and have a boxer. So the boxer just sitting there staring at me and then turns his head to the side. But I'm just like sitting there practicing my scripts with my dog. All right. I'm practicing my listing presentation with my dog, and he's just looking at me. And you know what? For that 20 minutes that I'm sitting there talking to my dog, all right, I'm practicing my scripts completely. Now I'm not getting objections, all right, but I'm practicing those scripts. Right. When my wife would come home from work before she got into real estate, I would practice with her. We'd be at the dinner table, and I'd turn around and say, "Okay, Joanne, let's pretend that you're a for sale by owner. Ring, ring." And she'd be like, "John, let's not do this again." You know what I mean? But I practice my scripts, and the more and more you practice, the more you practice, the better as you'll become, and you're going to internalize those scripts. Though, so get a role play partner, or get a wife, or get a dog. That's that's my my advice for everybody. Practice though. All right. Now that we have the understanding of the purpose of scripts, and we talked about why it benefits us to use them. So let's look at this part over here, the benefits. Remember that communication isn't necessarily just what you're saying, but it's what someone actually hears. All right. It's not just the words that we're saying, but it's what the other person or the recipient or the customer or the consumer, what they actually hear. All right. Remember, scripts are a rehearsed response that will deliver a powerful message in a way that they understand. Right. It allows you as the agent to ask powerful questions in a way that they'll be able to quickly share information that your customers need so you can better serve them. All right. Talk about building confidence for your job abilities. It allows you to stay focused in the conversation and be present in the moment. A lot of times when we're going through scripts, we have this whole long script that that we had rehearsed. We want to go through it. We're just going through it. They give you an objection, and we don't even listen to it, and we just continue on moving on without paying attention to what the client actually said. All right. That's because we're focused on what are we saying. We're not listening. We have blinders on, and we're not listening to what the client is actually saying. But when you know your scripts and you really have them internalized, it allows you to be in the moment with that client and truly listen to what they're saying. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. All right. It really allows you to stay focused in that present moment. It allows for consistency in what's being said and the actions that you as the agent is going to take. So let's watch this quick video.
Has anybody ever been on a phone call and you've got somebody on the other line, they're a salesperson, and they're telling you, so I'll give you a perfect example. They're like, oh, okay, we can reduce your credit card bills, and we can do this and that. And I'm like, I don't carry a balance on my credit cards month to month. I don't carry a balance. And like, yeah, but we can, reduce your, the amount of interest you pay. I'm like, yeah, I don't carry a credit card balance, so I never actually pay any interest. And they're like, yeah, but our program, so they weren't listening, and they just keep running on, and it's called a railroad close, where they just continue regardless of what you say, because they are reading from a script and they don't know how to address anything you've said. And so the reality is that person should have said, oh, well, if you don't carry a balance, then I guess, this is a wasted phone call and I can move on to the next call. But he continued, and that happens. And we get those calls all the time. And how does it feel when you're saying something and somebody just blows right past what you've said and they don't address it and they continue on their path? You feel like you're taken advantage of. You feel like you're not important. The words you're saying mean nothing to that person, and you're not going to like that person. Your lizard brain will go in and go, this is not a thing I want to do. I don't want to continue to be here because they didn't listen to me. People want you to listen to them, and they want you to tell them that they're right. So when somebody says something, say, yeah, I understand that. And I get it. That makes sense. And then go to your next thing, but address what they've said. Otherwise you will lose that person. You will not be able to continue that call. So make them understand that you've heard them, repeat their objection back to them, and tell them that they're right for this, and then go back in. If you don't do that, you'll lose these people.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I remember I was getting telephone calls, still get them, but telephone calls about, hey, did you know that the FBI says that a home is broken into every 3 minutes? And I'm like, great. And I have a home security system in my house. And then the girl was going on to say, that's why it's important that you get a home security system. And I said, yes. And I already have a security system installed in my house. And I said, and we can offer you a security system to be installed at your house for a really low price. And I'm saying, I already have a security system installed at my house. They weren't listening. It's exactly what Mike was saying. They're trying to railroad me, and they're just not listening to anything that I'm saying. All right. They don't know the scripts. All right. As professionals, we need to learn the scripts. You think about a football player. All right? Football players, they practice and practice and practice multiple times a day. All right. They're practicing each week, probably 40 to 60 hours a week in practice, or learning, rehearsing the plays, running through drills and everything for a 1 hour game. They practice 40, 50 hours for a 1 hour game. So Anna just asked, how long should I practice for? All right. And that's until you don't get it wrong. Until you have that, the answer is until you have that script so internalized that, like Alan was saying, he's going through his scripts and so forth, and all of a sudden he gets a curveball thrown at him, where he can respond and still pick up right where he left off, because it's internalized. So Anna said she's practicing for about an hour, at least an hour a day. Excellent. All right. And keep practicing until you don't get it wrong at all. Remember, professionals, they don't get it wrong.
And so keep in mind that your practice, you're saying you're an hour in a day, and that's not entirely true, because if you're doing your 3 hours of prospecting, now you've got 4 hours a day. Or if you're doing 2 hours of prospecting, now you've got 2 hours a day. So that's why it comes in really important to go ahead and put this practice into play, because that also counts as time working on your scripts.
Let's take a watch of this video. I think this is Jeff Glover, and he's talking about how to use scripts.
Hi, I'm Jeff Glover, and I'm going to tell you the top 5 things that you need to know about using scripts. Step 1, you're going to need to get your scripts from a top agent at the office your team leader, a MAPS coach, or of course Keller Williams University. Step 2, we're going to need to do a total transformation of, instead of talking and telling, of asking questions. Selling isn't telling, selling is asking a series of questions that leads to desired response. So instead of talking so much, we need to get in the habit of asking questions. And asking questions gives us control of the conversation. Control of the conversation gives us our ultimate outcome, which is an appointment set or a closing. Step 3, we need to listen with good intentions. Well, what I mean by that is we need to listen to their answers instead of just listening to them talk and asking another question that comes to mind. For example, instead of asking a seller where they're moving to and then going on to the next question, how soon would you like to be there? Ask them, where are you moving to? And when they give you a response, ask them, what takes you there? Step 4 in becoming better at scripts is we need to learn to mimic, mirror, and match the prospect. What I mean by that is we have to listen to their tone of voice. We have to speed up or slow down based on how fast the prospect is talking. That means when they respond and say, we're moving to Toledo, oh, Toledo, that's exciting. What takes you there? 93% of communication is body language and tonality. And that means only 7% are the words that we say or the questions that we ask. Step 5, we need to take these 5 points and practice them daily. If you think of NFL teams, they practice 50, 60 hours on the practice field for a 1-hour game. Our game is our presentations and our appointments, and we need to practice daily everything that we've learned every single day before we meet with our clients. When it comes to scripts, my biggest aha is that everybody has their own scripts. We're pre-programmed to have scripts, and we're talking and asking questions that are scripted. However, what we found is that most of our own scripts are no good. And so we have to learn the right scripts, the right questions to maintain control of the conversation. Thanks for watching KW Connect. Make it a great day.
Guys, I have a question regarding that. Can I ask a question? Can I?
Please, jump in.
Okay. So I just listened to this video, and do you guys, you and Michael, you John and you Michael, do you guys take notes during the time you make calls? And when you reach sometimes someone, and then later after you are done with all the calls, whatever, how many hours you make it, do you then later put it on the command, right? Otherwise, yes, you won't remember, right? So you take all the notes, and then when you're done, I just want to make sure if I'm doing it correctly, right?
Yeah, so one of the things I do is when I'm making my telephone calls from my database, I have my database open in front of me. Right?
Oh, okay.
So as I'm making telephone calls, if they tell me that, you know, him and his son are going on vacation, shark tagging, and you know, like Mike is, as he's talking, I'm entering those notes or those details into my database at that moment, right? So as we're talking, right? Now, if I tell him that I'm going to put together a CMA for him, or I'm going to do some other homework or whatever, I'm not going to do that during lead generation time, because that's my time to make new, get new business. That's not time to do homework for somebody else. After, I'm going to fulfill my promises. All right. Okay. So if I'm doing lead gen from 9 to 12, after 12 o'clock, that's when I'm going to go ahead and fulfill all those promises. That's where I'm going to write out my thank you cards. And that's when I'm going to write out do my CMAs and everything.
All right.
Okay? But yeah, I'll have those notes. I'll have that right in front of me. If I don't have my database up, yeah, I always have a notepad or some piece of paper right next to me. That way I can always just write quick notes down if I need to, if I don't have my database open right then and there.
Okay, so it's FISBOs and expired, you take notes and then later you put them in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to make sure I do it correctly. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So Jeff Glover, for those that don't know him, I believe he's like number 3 or number 4 in the company for total units sold. All right. Guy knows what he's talking about. All right. And he knows what he's talking about. He's been very, very successful. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that he knows his scripts. Okay. He knows what he's saying. One of the things he said in here is telling isn't selling. All right. What do you guys think what do you think that means? Telling isn't selling.
I think it's more about don't just talk. Ask, what I'm getting is make it personal. Make it personal. Ask the questions. Let the buyer know that you're interested in why they're buying, what brings you there, what's going on, or the seller. Oh, why are you selling your house? Oh, you're moving over there. Oh, okay. What's taking you over there? How soon can we get there? Oh, just make it about them. So I'm getting it. I'm getting it like, okay, this is personal. It's not just transaction. Let's make this personal so like that you can basically get them motivated because you're touching their emotions with
Right.
this. So it's linked.
Yeah, I like the, when they say telling isn't selling, I like to think about if I'm doing more of the talking, I'm doing too much telling. All right. And if I'm asking questions, if I'm asking good questions or the right questions, they're going to be the one that's doing the majority of the talking. And that's where that's where the secret sauce is. That's where the gold is in their responses. Right. So rather than just telling them how awesome I am and how my marketing is amazing and this and this and that, well, I need to find out their motivation. I'm not finding out their motivation by telling them how awesome I am. All right. They, and he was saying, he also said to ask questions, ask lots of questions, ask good questions. And you think about you can judge how powerful and how impactful or how good your question was by that pause between in their answer. All right. One of the questions I like to ask during a listing presentation is, what happens if your house doesn't sell in the next 30 days? And then a lot of time they'll pause and they're like, you know what? I never really thought about that. No, we have to sell. We cannot wait 30, 60 days. We have to sell. All right. So asking the right questions, we're going to we're going to uncover true motivations. All right. And he also said, listen and listen intently. What are some things that you believe that we can do to show a client that we're listening?
When we take notes and you mentioned something about what they said a minute ago or so, so that gives them an impression that you are listening to their needs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And having the right script, asking questions, listen to them, and interacting on what they are saying to us, and for us to, I think when we reach a point that we are good on doing this, we are going, because they are going to get calls from other people as well, other agents. And I think when we reach the point that we are doing the correct way, we are going to leave a good impression to them. And that they say, wow, I spoke with Griselda or with Alan, with Michael, or I spoke with Rosangela, I'm gonna call Rosangela, I liked her, or, it's just a conversation, but I think it's a good impression. I think it's the same thing when you apply for a job, any place, there are so many candidates that knock at the door, but when it's very rewarding that when you get a call from an employer saying, hi, Griselda or Rosangela, Alan, we want to welcome you to our company. So it's very rewarding to us. I think it's the first impression is the best impression we can leave to them.
Yeah. Well, one of the things you said that I really liked is you said, make sure you're taking notes of what they're saying. It shows that you're listening. It shows that you care, and you're right. It does make that personal thing. When I go to a restaurant and I'm ordering, I order my dinner, and the server comes over and he's not writing down my order and this and that. Well, I'm thinking to myself, you better get this right. Right? You better get this right. Don't mess up. You're showing off that you don't need to write it down. That's fine. But don't mess up my order. All right. And it kind of, that's one of my little pet peeves. Okay. So you're right. It's taking notes is very helpful when you're previewing homes, when you're going in a listing presentation. All right, write down as many notes as you can about the property. The person's going to say, "Wow, this person actually cares. This person is actually taking the detail, writing down the details, details of this home." When he asks a question, he's writing down my answers. So yeah, that's one big thing. Another thing is repeat or paraphrase what they're saying back to you. All right. So why are you selling your home? Well, I want to move to Chicago. Well, what's in Chicago? I want to be closer with my family. And what will that do for you and your family? Everyone being together. Well, my parents are getting older in age. I can care for them and so forth. Now, this is where the paraphrasing comes in. And you say, okay, so if I understand you correctly, by moving to Chicago, you'll be able to tend to your parents who are getting older in age and so forth and so forth. And you want to be there in the next 30, 60 days. Did I understand that correctly? Yes. Excellent. You're showing that you're listening. Ask follow-up questions. When you ask them a question, don't just, like you said, don't just stop and say, where are you moving to? How soon do you want to be there? All right. Go 2 or 3 levels deep on that question. I want a nice kitchen. Well, what does a nice kitchen look like to you? Have them describe what that nice kitchen looks like to you. And then go a little bit further. What will that do for you and your family? What's important about having a lot of extra counter space in your kitchen? Well, me and my family, me and my wife, we like to cook together at the same time. We need extra space. Okay, wow, that makes sense, right? But that's showing that we're paying attention, that we're listening, that we're caring about exactly what they're saying. So yeah, telling isn't selling. Ask good questions and be intentful and listening to what they're saying. They're going to tell you what they want. You just have to listen for it. All right, so let's talk about memorizing scripts. So what I tell people is I tell people all the time, actually, no, not what I tell people. What people try to do is they read the script and then they say, you know what? I don't like the script because it doesn't sound like me. Who said that before? I know I've said that before. I don't like the script because it doesn't sound like me. Of course it doesn't sound like you. You've never said it before. Say it a couple times and then it'll start sounding like you. You'll make it sound like you. All right.
So what I found super helpful regarding that is, because I don't sound like everybody when I do the scripts. Although I'm using the same words, I'm using my personality. I'm using my tonation, inflection, how I deliver it is who I am. But what I found super helpful was, and John Dietz is a big proponent of this, bullet point these scripts, write them out numerous times. I learned by listening, and it was still helpful for me to write them out myself in bullet points. It helped me to internalize them. So the key is memorize this. Memorize it by writing it down, by listening to it over and over again. Internalize it by writing them out in bullet points in your own hand. And then you're going to personalize it in that order and not any other way. Mm-hmm. When you have got it memorized, internalized, and then personalized, it will sound like you. Yeah, there's certain words that just, they're not in my vocabulary when I speak to people. So I'll take those words and I'll turn them into separate words. I won't change the key words because a script is just a dialogue. It's a structured conversation that is meant to have a certain outcome. You ever see a magician do a magic trick, right? And he shuffles the deck and shuffles 100 times, has you pick out a card and shuffles and shuffles and shuffles. Your card is the 2 of diamonds. Now, as a magician, I've got the 2 of diamonds planted everywhere on my body. So it doesn't matter where I go, I'm going to pull out the 2 of diamonds because that's what I brought you to in the deck. That's what the whole secret sauce behind this is, to get them to where you need them to be, which is a 2 of diamonds, or which is getting an objection that you know you can handle. So you're asking the questions to get them to give the objection that you want. The only reason why you're picking up the phone and saying the first few words with "they're for sale by owner" or "an expired," is to get them to give you an objection that you know you can handle. That's your 2 of diamonds. And then you handle it and you move on. And you'll go to the next objection. But the point is, you've got to be ready for it. So when I played baseball, I played third base. Third base, the hot corner, right? You know the ball comes fast. It's faster to the third base than anywhere else on the field. And as a third baseman, your mind, your thinking is, it's coming to me. It's coming to me. Every time the pitcher throws the ball, it's coming to me. So you're prepared. When I pick up the phone, I am prepared. I'm like, I'm going to get an objection. I'm going to get an objection. And I get to have the right questions to get them to give me the objections I want. Right? So learn this, memorize, right? Internalize, personalize. That's the key.
Yeah, a lot of people try to jump right in the very first time they read the script once, and then they say, I don't like it. It doesn't sound like me. I'm going to reinvent the wheel. I'm going to do it my own way, the way that sounds more like me. And they go straight into personalizing, and it completely misses the boat. All right. It's important to understand that just reading, first of all, reading a script one time is not enough to internalize it. You have to read it over and over and over. You have to say it over and over. You got to practice it over and over. All right. And the more it gets internalized, the more it's going to sound natural. It's going to sound like you. And then at the very end, like Mike said, at the very end, then you can personalize it any way, whatever, to make it sound like you. All right. But I love that. Practice it, memorize it for the very first time, the way it's written, and then internalize it, and then you can personalize it. All right. And remember, that's going to make you sound, by internalizing, it's going to make it sound more natural. It's going to make you sound friendly. So, but again, it does take time and it does take practice. All right. So this is something that, this is a way that actors and, other people, that they memorize their scripts. Remember, they got a big old script book like that, and they got to memorize the entire script book. This is exactly what some of the things that they do. All right. And this is a 6-step process for memorizing a script. All right. And the way to do that is one line at a time. All right. What's the best way to eat an elephant? All right. One bite at a time. All right, and it's the same thing with this. We're going to do it one line at a time. So you have the whole script in front of you. First thing you do is read the first sentence of the script out loud 5 times. All right, now when you read the script out loud, you're engaging your eyes, your voice, and your entire body. I speak with my hands a lot. So as I'm talking, and especially as I'm scripting, and when I'm reading it for the very first time, I'm engaging my body the same way that I would normally do it in front of someone. So I'm conditioning my body, my muscles to, as if I'm having the real conversation. So you're going to read that first sentence of that first line. You're going to read that out loud 5 times. And then you're going to read it another 5 times, but this time with a smile on your face. Kind of sounds weird saying, read with a smile on your face, but that smile does come across in your voice when you're speaking. Have you ever called someone and they say, hey, it's a great day at Keller Williams. How are you today? You can hear the smile in their voice. Or, it's a great day at Keller Williams. How are you? That you can hear that also. All right. So the second step is to repeat the same sentence 5 more times with a smile on your face. And you'll hear a difference. You'll notice a difference in the tonality in your voice when you say it with a smile, when you speak with a smile. All right, stand in front of a mirror and watch your body language as you repeat your script over and over and over. You'll be surprised how engaged your body is when you actually start to memorize them. All right, the third step is now you're going to read the second line of the script, the second sentence out loud 10 times while smiling. And then try saying the script from memory. Put the script down, don't look at it. And from memory, recite the first 2 sentences out loud 10 times with the smile. And if you make a mistake, start all over. And then you say the script by adding 1 sentence at a time over and over and over, repeating it 10 times. And then again, anytime you make a mistake, start over from the beginning. Until the point where you can say the entire script and you have it memorized. Then say it as fast as you can. The chances of stumbling when you're reading the script at a normal pace after you practice and chanted them several times, they're going to be very, very small. But this is how professionals learn and memorize their scripts. They say it over and over and over and over and over and over again. And you chunk it down one sentence at a time. And you practice it, saying it over and over, saying it quickly. I love doing that part when I'm learning my scripts. I love trying to say it as fast as I can, because when you memorize it like that, when you're actually delivering it and normal rate of your speech at a normal rate, it's going to come out much easier. What questions or ahas do you guys have about this process of memorizing scripts? Does this sound something that we could do?
Absolutely. And when I used to be an office manager for one of our dermatology company, one of the big ones here in Florida, I was a huge stickler about sounding gloomy or monotone, like especially over the phone. Like I used to tell my front desk agent, I was like, you need to smile when you pick up that phone.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling Waters Edge Dermatology. How can I help you?
Yeah, first impression.
Yeah, absolutely, Rosario. You're absolutely right. It's that first impression. Okay. It's definitely that first impression. And remember, once these scripts become internalized, they become natural. It almost becomes second nature. And instead of having to focus and think about what you're going to be saying next, like I said, you're able to listen to what your customer, what your consumer is actually responding to at that moment. You're able to be in that moment. You're not thinking about, okay, once they say this, next I got to say that. No. So that's why it's important not only just to memorize it, but it's really truly internalize those scripts.
That was exactly the point I wanted to ask. Now that we are not so good when we are beginners, of course we practice, but then how do you cope with that? How do you balance that listening to them, what we are supposed to, so in order, because we want to show them that we listen to it, and knowing what to say next. How do they not throw you out of the balance? Do you understand my question? It's like,
yeah, and sometimes challenge. It does. Sometimes they do throw you off. Sometimes they'll throw you off completely. Right?
Yes.
But if it's internalized, and not just memorized, but if it's internalized, you'll be able to pick it up from wherever you last left off. All right.
Oh wow.
The person is your client will know if you're reading a script. You can hear it. All right. You can hear it. And they also can tell when you're not paying attention. They may say something that you weren't paying attention to, and you glaze right over it, and they're gonna be like, wow, this person isn't listening to me. Remember, if they don't think that you care about them, chances are they're not gonna feel too confident in you, right? So the only way to get better at that is by internalizing those scripts. I call Chilongo all the time, or he calls me and says, we'll have a conversation like, hey, I'm about to call up one of my listings and ask him I'm trying to get a price reduction, and this is gonna be a tough one. Mike, let's rehearse this real fast. And Mike and I will do this all the time, and we'll just practice. He'll throw me a couple objections of things that he could possibly say. All right. And then I'm like, all right, cool. I'm ready. Let me jump on the telephone. Let me give him a call. And as soon as I give him a call, I've already said it before. I already have a couple of responses in my utility belt. So anyone remember the old school Batman, the original old Batman, right? Adam West Batman, right? And he had that Bat utility belt. And on that Bat utility belt was everything he could possibly ever need and ever want. All right, one of my favorite ones is when he's holding onto the rope ladder over the ocean. A shark jumps up and bites him on the leg, and he pulls out spray, right? And he just happened to have shark repellent, and it was like a can of hairspray probably. He sprayed the shark repellent on the shark. Shark let go. Okay, he happened to have shark repellent on him, and our scripts and our arsenal. Mike, you remember that too, don't you?
Of
Sadly,
course.
I remember it too.
You got
I'm showing my age.
yeah, right. So, but you know, it's in our arsenal is the same exact thing. We have to have all of our objections, our objection handlers, our scripts on our bat utility belt, so that no matter what they throw at us, we know how we're going to respond.
Keep so Anna, for this purposes, keep those interactions outside of the script short so that you can get back to where you need to get to. All you need to do is demonstrate that you've heard them, make them right about what they've said, and then get right back into it. We don't want to get off of the straight line. I call it a straight line. If you've seen me do this before, it's a straight line on the whiteboard, and then there's big lines going up and down, kind of like a heart rate erratic. You want to bring them right back to that center line. They'll take you off and you bring them right back. They'll take you off and you bring them right back. So the idea is they give you an objection. Yeah, I completely understand that. So you feel like this, and I get it. And yeah, you're right. I would feel the same way too. And then get right back into it. Don't get onto a whole conversation about it. Just address it. Make sure you acknowledged it. Make them right about it and move back.
Smart. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I'm going to, what I'd like to have everyone do is reach out to someone else on this call. Reach out to someone else in the office, right? And just ask them, hey, will you be my script partner? All right, we're not going to do it in here, but will you be my script partner for the next couple days? Okay, or let's just go over for sale by owner scripts. All right, now when you're doing the script practice, there's a couple rules. Okay, the rules are you have to give objections, but make them realistic objections also, things that they will actually say. But give them 3 or 4 objections, and give them the appointment. Okay, and then you switch, and then you give them the script and let them give you some objections. All right, but practice and practice and practice and practice and practice. Let me tell you something. When I'm driving to a listing presentation, and I've been on many, many listing presentations, when I'm driving over to someone's house on a listing presentation, I'm not listening to music in the car on the way over. I'm definitely not talking on the telephone to somebody, because they're going to throw me off and they may say something that might take my headspace completely in a different direction. But I'm rehearsing, what am I going to say when I'm sitting there with that seller? And I have my listing presentation internalized, and I'm still practicing. Remember, as a professional, we're going to practice until we cannot get it wrong. All right, so we said find a script practice partner, spend 15 minutes each day, at least 15 minutes each day reciting it. All right, I'm going to challenge everyone to do it on FaceTime. All right, try it. So it's face to face.
Okay.
All right, try rehearsing face to face. Something you can do is record yourself giving the listing presentation. Record yourself while doing the script, and then listen to it and see, how do you sound? Am I speaking too fast? Am I speaking too slow? Am I mumbling my words? You'll find all the little idiosyncrasies that you always say. Like, I know I say, you know, do you understand what I'm saying? Get it? You know, I say things like that a lot. Pay attention to how many times you say,
Yeah.
All right. But that's when it's helpful to record yourself and listen to yourself delivering those scripts.
Do we go by the script book that we originally came with our package, or are we doing a different script book now because we're going?
Yeah.
Why are you looking so surprised, Alan? You know, like, do we pick one of these scripts here? I'm special. That's what it is. I'm special.
So let me give you some insight on that. Number one, the scripts that you hear in group coaching every day, record those. Okay, you've recorded them in the office. Now you record them out of the office, and John is doing a great job of delivering those recorded classes to us. Number two, I bought John's book, his first book, which is Scripts for Success. It's on Amazon.
Okay.
I bought that first book, and you can literally build a rock star real estate business just with that one book. Every script in there works. It holds up. It's perfect. And we're improving them all the time in our group coaching sessions. Third thing you can do is, and I can't see all of you on the screen at the moment, leaning into the market of the moment, going and signing up for our bold pivot. We're going to be sharing scripts and strategies and insight and knowledge into how to deal with this market of the moment, dealing with possible objections and so on. So if you're not signed up for the $100, get signed up, guys. If you are signed up, go ahead and put a check mark in the chat box or raise your hand up here. I can't see the whole screen, but John can. And if you're having questions about what am I going to get out of it, take a minute right now and just air the questions that you have about that, because it's a tremendous opportunity to learn from MAPS coaches who are fantastic, have been rock star real estate agents, megas that you can learn from. So if you have some questions, right now is a great time to ask about that.
So the book is called Script for Success by John Dietz?
Yep.
Correct.
Okay, perfect.
And, you know, Griselda, which script can you use? And the answer is whichever one works best for you. Okay. I love John's scripts. All the scripts that I learned, everything I learned in real estate has been from John Dietz. Okay. So I learned John Dietz's script, bold. All right. For, you know, everyone that's attending bold, you're going to get some incredible, amazing scripts that are in bold. Okay. And you want to learn those scripts as well. Okay. By the way, as far as the bold goes, there's 35 slots available left, and there's only 35 slots available. That will sell out. Okay. So also, if you go into KW Connect and you go to the Shift Pivot, right? That's where all these classes are right now. That's being broadcasted live on there. At the bottom, you're going to have some scripts over there, which is scripts for the moment right now. When someone says, I want to hold off until Corona is over. I don't want to sell right now because of, you know, this of coronavirus. I don't want to do this or do that right now. I want to take my time. There's scripts on there, right? But you got to have those in your bat, have those all in your bat utility belt. Okay, so that way when you need that shark repellent, it's right there. Jen Weisberg says that she still watches the old school Batman with her kids, right? So, but have all those things on your bat utility belt so that you can handle any objection that comes your way. All right, last thing, we're gonna wrap it up right here. I do want to get a couple ahas from you guys. I want to hear some things that you feel differently about, or what behaviors that you're going to do differently moving forward. I want to hear from you guys. Talk to me.
I actually feel more comfortable, more confident now. Yesterday, I did call what I said because I didn't get to speak to the person that was listening. But I did leave this message. So I was like, hi, good morning. My name is Briselda Ramos. I'm with Keller Williams. And I just wanted to introduce myself, build a rapport with you. And more importantly, I wanted to see how you and your family are doing. So whenever you have a moment, please give me a call. And I left them my number. And hopefully I will hear from you soon. Again, please stay safe, you and your family. Thank you. And that was like my made up script.
There you go. There you go. You know, when I'm calling expireds, right? When I'm calling expireds or for sale by owner and I get their voicemail, some school, you know, there's one school of thought that says don't leave voicemails. My thing is I always leave voicemail. Okay. But you know, hey, this is John with Keller Williams. Give me a call back, 954, blah, 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 blah. I got some great news about your home.
I did follow up with a text as well, saying the same thing, because I figured, you know, hey, knowing me, I wouldn't listen to the voicemail. I'll delete it. But if I get the text, I'm like, oh, okay, you know what? Let me see. You know, this person sounds friendly via text.
But yeah, absolutely. I follow up with text all the time. But like I said, my thing is, hey, I got some great news about your home. Even on a text message, hey, this is John with Keller. I got some great news about your home. Call me back. Oh, you got some great news. Talk to me. What's that great news? We're finally in touch. Now we can have a conversation, right? But I'm doing whatever I can in order to get the telephone call, get the conversation going, so I can get that appointment.
So what do you tell them, John? What are the great news?
But what's the great news is I can help you get your home sold.
Okay.
All right. I can help you get your home sold. If it's a for sale by owner, if it's an expired, I specialize. What's the great news about it? I specialize in homes that didn't sell the first time. Your home didn't sell.
Great news. There's only 3 reasons why your home didn't sell. It's either price, presentation, or marketing. If I'm able to point out to you what one of those 3 reasons caused your home not to sell, will it help you sell it in the near future?
Awesome.
If you try leaving a voicemail script that's too long, too wordy, too it's not a real compelling call to action. It's just like every other voicemail that comes in. It's gonna be a sales soliciting call, and they're just gonna delete it. Hi, this is John with Keller Williams. I saw that your home recently came off the market. I was wondering if you're still interested in selling the home. If there, your home showed up on the market, the MLS is expired. No, don't go there. All right, they're just gonna get deleted. Remember, everything is a script. Trick or treat is a script. All right, everything is a script.
Would you like to hear our specials today?
That's a script. All right, so that's all I have. It is 5 minutes till 11. You guys do not have the rest of the day off. The rest of the day is making telephone calls, is practicing and rehearsing your scripts, updating your contracts, updating your contacts in command, following up with people. At 11:15, we have our team meeting. So jump onto that Zoom call. That Zoom team meeting is always my favorite part of the week. And then as soon as that team meeting's over, grab some lunch and then get right back on the telephone.
John?
Yes.
This Zoom call and also yesterday's Zoom call only let me join via audio. It doesn't let me join video. Is that on me or like it doesn't let me?
I think that's called a UE. It's a user error.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's on your side.
I also noticed that the schedule was off too, because the schedule for today with you was an hour later. I'm like, okay, I'm confused. That's why I jumped on to John Dietz, and I'm like, wait a minute. When I saw but I was like, it's happening now. So that's what I clicked on.
Oh, that's what that meant. Okay, I'm gonna take a look and see.
Yeah, it's very confusing. Yeah.
All right, I probably put the wrong time. I apologize, Alan. Nope. Awesome. Guys, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure being with you guys. I love the interaction. I love the back and forth and the participation, everything like that. So go out there, make it a great day, and get tons of contracts and business. All right, stay safe.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, guys. See you later.